Okay, we're looking at skill access 3.6, adding controls to forms. On the last lesson I referred to these as controls, the stuff on our form. Anything on your form is really a control. Here we have fields that values can be entered into. Above them we have labels in there. Those are your two basic controls. You're looking at labels and fields. There's other things you can put on there. You won't work too much with those. But those are what controls are. There's two kinds of controls. There's bound and unbound. Basically your labels are unbound and your fields here are bound because the field is bound to the field in the table that you have linked to this form. The label itself isn't bound to anything. It's not dependent on any values in the table. So those are unbound while the fields are bound. That's just kind of a quick definition of that. To add a field or add a control, basically right now I'm in form view. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click over here and go to layout view, and this, let's say this wasn't up. If you're on the design tab in your form layout tools section, you can click add existing fields and a list of fields will pop up there for me. And what I can do is I can take any one of these fields. Let's say I look at this and I say I don't want to just edit phone numbers, I want to be able to edit email addresses too. I can click on email address and I can drag it and just drop it here. Oh, and it goes up there. Let's move that down and I can put it here, at the bottom of my form. So now I have email addresses in my form. You see, by default it's going to give, whenever I add a field to my form, it's going to give it a label. It's going to label it according to what that field name is in your table. And I can always delete that, or I could add more to this. Another thing, I'm going to maybe get ahead of myself here, but I'm going to switch over to design view. I feel like I have a little more control in the design view, and you can see everything that's in here. And this is another thing I can drag. Whoop, click on it. For some reason I might want to put city in there. I can click it in. There's your label. We'll get into more working in the design view a little more as we go on. There's a lot of other things up here. I could put a date time, which is unbound because it's not bound to a table. It is bound by the actual date and time, but it's unbound to the tables. I can add a label. If I click on label and come down here, you see the little A with that plus sign. I click and drag and it puts a label in there, and I can type whatever I want in there, and that's just a label, just a way to put some text on your form. So that's kind of adding controls to your form, and we'll look at that more in detail on working in this design view, I believe, as we go along through the chapters. Your code word for this lesson is BOAT, B-O-A-T.